Hey everybody, Ace Trainer Liam here. This video is about something really important to me, so I'm going to give you a massive thank you in advance just for taking the time to listen to it. Today I'm bringing you a different kind of video to coincide with a charity live stream that I'm going to be doing this coming Monday, which is the 6th of October 2017. It will be 10 AM to 10 PM over on my Twitch channel, and I'm going to be looking to raise £1,000 or more for Guide Dogs UK by playing a solo run with Growlithe in Pokemon Y. Guide Dogs UK is an organisation that is very dear to my heart as someone who does have very poor vision when not wearing glasses or contact lenses like I am now, and whose prescription is far too complex to qualify for laser surgery, and as someone whose left eye is very much dead and doesn't get very much vision at all, even when it's corrected, if I lose my right eye, I would actually be immediately registered as blind or partially sighted. Guide Dogs UK is a charity whose work changes the lives of thousands of people across the country. The services provided by Guide Dogs UK allow them to live as close to a normal life as possible, making them feel more like equal people to myself and to you, rather than feeling inferior. So with the charity livestream coming up, I wanted to give you some more information about Guide Dogs UK and the work that they do. And I also want to make it clear, Guide Dogs UK have not asked me to make this video. They also haven't asked me to do the live stream. Everything I'm doing here is of my own volition because I care so much about this charity. So without further ado, feel free to hit a like on this video just to show your support for Guide Dogs UK, and I'm going to give you some facts you may not know about Guide Dogs UK. First up, over 2 million people in the United Kingdom suffer with sight loss. To put it into perspective, that's 3% of the entire population of the United Kingdom who suffer with either partial sight, be it a little bit of loss of visual field or some kind of severe refractive error, or total blindness, which can range all the way up to having zero perception of light. Of these 2 million people, over 180,000 are either housebound or feel housebound because they don't have the confidence or they don't feel comfortable going out into the wider world without some kind of guide. Because, I mean, the world outside your home is a very terrifying place, and then imagine how that feels with either partial sight or being blind. I've often said if I had to lose one of my senses, the only one I couldn't live without is my sight. Like, I'm scared of ever losing the sight in my right eye because I'd be completely blind, and I would just be absolutely terrified every single day just to even walk to the end of my garden and back without being able to perceive it in front of me. I could lose hearing, that would be fine. People would communicate with me by writing things down. I'd have to just be more alert. I could lose my speech. I could write things down. I could lose my sense of touch. I could lose my sense of taste. I could lose my sense of smell. But if I lost my sight, I don't know where I would be. And I don't know if I'd be able to live like that. So I do commend anybody, any of the 2 million people who are suffering with sight loss or partial sight or blindness. You guys are friggin' heroes for living the way you do. I couldn't do it, and I respect so many people for being able to do that. But that's just an idea of the amount of people affected in the United Kingdom. 3%, that is an insane amount of people that are suffering with this. So this is why organisations like Guide Dogs UK are so important to help these people. Now, the Guide Dog service itself actually costs around £50 million to run each year. In 2016, the cost of running the Guide Dog service was about £48.9 million, which is about $65.5 million if you're in the United States. It's no surprise, really, that running such a huge and intensive organisation costs a ridiculous amount of money. If you take the actual cost of raising a guide dog from birth to retirement after it's worked as a guide dog, that costs around £57,000 per dog. This includes everything from the breeding program to basic training to advanced training. It also includes maintaining the partnership between a guide dog and a guide dog owner, who is the person who is blind or partially sighted, as Guide Dogs UK also pay for the dog's food, the vet bills, and ongoing training while it is working as a partner to an owner. These are just examples of why it's so expensive to run a guide dog from birth all the way to retirement. And to run the entire Guide Dog service, if you think £57,000 is a lot for one dog, consider all the dogs that are across the country currently being trained or bred or working as guide dogs. Now, with all this information, it may be hard to believe that most of Guide Dogs UK's money comes from donation. You'd think that in the UK, where we have the National Health Service, or the NHS, that provides free healthcare for pretty much everyone in the country, including drug rehabilitation for drug abusers, that something as integral to the well-being and the safety of a person with partial sight or blindness would be provided by the NHS. but you'd be completely dead wrong. This isn't the case. Less than 1% of the funding that Guide Dogs UK gets comes from the government. The other 99% or more of their money comes from donations from regular people like me and like you. And this is why it's so important to raise money for this worthy cause, because without our help, this could not keep going. Now, one thing you may not know is that Labradors were not the first guide dogs. Quite often when we think of guide dogs, we think of Labradors or Labrador Retrievers or maybe Golden Retrievers, because we automatically associate them with being very peaceful, having very docile temperament, and being extremely easy to train. However, the first 4 guide dogs trained in the 1930s were actually German Shepherds, just like Roxy here. These dogs were trained and given to veterans who had been blinded during World War I. The guide dog service has come a long way since these 4 original dogs, and is now responsible for 8,000 dogs across the country, from newborn puppies to currently working dogs to even 6 or 7 year retirees. And one thing you might not know is that the guide dog service doesn't just provide guide dogs for those who need them and breed the puppies. They also do an incredible amount of work beyond that. Some people just aren't suited to having a guide dog, whether that's because they're allergic to dogs or they just have a phobia of having a dog or a large animal around them. Some people just can't have a guide dog. It's just not feasible for them to have one. So what Guide Dogs UK do is they also train human volunteers to be sighted guides. So they have the know-how to guide a blind person around, the correct ways to guide a person who has sight loss around, so that they can be less isolated, so they can go out and about, they can get around town. You'll often see a blind person with one of these sighted guides who has been trained by Guide Dogs UK, leading them around and also providing them with some company. Guide Dogs UK also campaigns to end discrimination against people with sight loss, and surprisingly, it is a thing that happens. I know before I did the research for this video, I didn't realise just how much people with sight loss are discriminated against, but apparently it happens a lot. People with sight loss, and obviously especially people who have guide dogs, are often refused access to certain things like certain public transport, access to certain places like certain restaurants and stores that normally they could otherwise visit, but they're not allowed in because they have a working dog with them. Oh, and by the way, if you run a business and you refuse someone access to your business because they need a guide dog to get around, you're a garbage human, and I look forward to never giving you any of my money. Guide Dogs UK also runs extensive research into different fields to make sure that people with sight loss have the best options available to them. Looking into things like dog behaviour, psychosocial research, because of course there's a lot of psychological effects that sight loss can have on you, and even environmental research to make sure our towns and cities are safe for people with blindness or partial sight to get around. And of course, my favourite fact about Guide Dogs UK is you can visit the breeding and training centre absolutely free. The official HQ of Guide Dogs UK, their breeding and training centre, is based just outside the city of Leamington Spa in the UK, and they offer free tours of their facility at different days throughout the week. All you have to do to be able to visit and have a tour of the facility is book a slot for that particular day through their website, and you'll be able to go and visit on that day and have a look around the facility with a guide to show you around. Not only will they show you the breeding centre where all the puppies are raised and also the training facilities, they'll also go into great detail explaining just how much work goes into the guide dog service and how much work goes on behind the scenes. They also give you the opportunity to meet guide dogs in training who also go around the facility with you, so it's a great opportunity to meet some hard-working professional animals. On top of that, they also have an area where people with 20/20 vision can experience what it's like to live with partial sight or blindness, and if you haven't had that simulation, honestly, you need to, because it puts everything into perspective about just how much impact the guide dog service has on people's lives. I went on one of these tours of the facility in 2016, and honestly, it was absolutely breathtaking. It was a fantastic day, and I really recommend it to anyone. And of course, it's absolutely free, although donations, of course, are appreciated while you're there. You know, have some common sense. I'd like to thank you all for watching. I hope you found this interesting. I know it wasn't a Pokemon video, but I really hope you learned something from this video and that you do respect what the Guide Dogs UK organisation is doing. As I said, I'm doing a charity live stream on Monday the 6th of October from 10 AM UK time to 10 PM UK time. 12-hour stream. We want to raise as much money as we can for Guide Dogs UK because it's a cause that I believe in so much, and I really want to help. If you can't make the stream on Monday but you would like to leave a donation, there is a link at the top of the description to Guide Dogs UK's website where you can use their secure online form to leave a donation, and you can also find out more information about guide dogs at your own leisure. But of course, until next time, I'm Ace Trenilium. Keep on training.